Hi, I'm Mary Knippel, your book mentor and the founder of YourReadyMentor.com. Today we're going to talk about Write Your Book, Grow Your Business, the author's secret to success. Is anyone here a business owner? Drop in the chat or just nod your head. Raise your hand. Do you ever feel frustrated when you see people in your space, your industry, writing books, and you think, that should be me? Now, I want to get my book up. I want to tell my story. I need more business. But do I have the time? Sound familiar? The pain ends here. I'm Mary Knippel. I've got 35 years experience as a journalist. And I've kept a journal since I was 11, but I was never encouraged to be a writer. Being a secretary was more practical. And believe you me, those skills have come in handy in my writing career. But over the years, the stories that I really resonated with and the ones that are most dear were the ones where I got to help my subject realize the why of the what they were doing. Their personal story was always the heart of what we talked about. So I help my authors clarify their message and identify their ideal audience. Now, how did I write my own book and help my clients to write theirs, to have more impact, to have more income, and to get their story out into the world? Well, that's what we're talking about today. The author's success method. Here's what a few of my clients had to say, that the hand-holding made a big difference to them, and the fact that I am a cheerleader, a mentor, an architect, and a nudge, that I believe your story matters as nobody else can tell your story from your perspective, and help you build the story wherever you are on your writing journey. And whatever deadline you have, I'll help you nudge it along. I'll remind you. I'll hold you accountable. As a business owner, you know that your business lives in language, and you want to be there. You sit down to write and you struggle. You think, do I have the time? Do I know what to say? Will anybody listen to my story? And you think, someday I'll write that book. But does someday come? I'm here to help you imagine that you are on that writing journey today, that you're ready to dive into your book. And right now, you've got me helping you with the author success method. One of my clients is an accountant. She was really good with numbers, but she wasn't sure that she could tell a story that anybody would want to hear. She was invited to be part of an anthology, and she wanted to take part in this anthology. She wanted to be part of the global message that it was sharing. And she came to me and she said, how do I do this? So we worked together, and she has a rich background to draw on, which I believe everybody has a rich background, because we all have life experiences that have brought the wisdom of who we are today and what we do and how we do it. So we worked together and came up with a beautiful story. that shared her expertise and how she got to be so fabulous at what she does. Because she could relate the humanity of knowing the numbers. And she told a great story in this anthology. She was so confident at the end of working on that anthology that now she's writing her own book. And she's creating a program around her new book. So let's start writing your book to grow your business with my author success method. And by the way, it's borrowed from the reporter's list of details that you need to know, but we're applying it with an author genre so that you can get a perspective of the kind of details that you want to be looking for when you're focusing on the book that you're writing. So first of all, who are you meant to impact? Who are you writing for? Who do you want to encourage? Who do you want to inspire? Or are you educating? Are you uplifting? Are you instilling a hope? Think about the reader and who they are. Picture them in your mind. Go so far as to create a composite of them. Know what they like for breakfast. Know what time of day they'll curl up with the book. Know what makes them cry. Next, we want you to know what. What do you want your reader to do after reading your book? If you're teaching them something, be sure that you break it down enough so that they are empowered at the end of reading your book to be able to accomplish what you have intended for the book to accomplish with them. And when I talked about being a nudge, you have to have a timeline. You have to have, now that you sat down to write it, your someday is here. When is this book going to be finished and out in the world? There are all kinds of factors that impact our progress in writing a book. But if you have an end in mind, if you have a vision of, I'm going to have my book signing on my 65th birthday, or when I pick a date. So it's a milestone that you can work backwards. And things can be tweaked. But if you start out with a goal of, I want to publish this, then you will have accomplished something on your to-do list. You got to know your when and where. Where are you on your writing journey? If you're just noodling around getting those ideas out of your head and on the page, that's great. If you are close to having a finished manuscript, that's wonderful. It's you being aware of the moving parts and what you can do to keep things flowing. And setting up a consistent time for you to write. If you are at the very beginning, then it's where you're going to sit to write every day, where you are going to create and be inspired yourself. So think about all the pieces of the puzzle. And why is it imperative that you write this book? Why is it important that you read this book? Why now? And why you? That's worth you thinking about. It is important that you be compelled to be writing this. Authors have an obligation to their readers to be so enthralled and so enthused about what they're writing that they can't help it. Because the first reader you have to inspire and keep engaged is you. Never forget that. You're the first reader that you need to really grab their attention. Because if you're bored, your audience will be bored too. And how do you help readers? How are you having an impact on them? Do you help them with their health? Are you teaching them about nutrition? Or how to move their bodies with yoga or exercise? Are you inspiring them with stories of people overcoming how you overcame a health crisis? My book is about my breast cancer twice being diagnosed and how I used journaling as an intricate part of my healing process. That helped my mindset. It tapped into my creativity. I gave myself permission to open doors that I hadn't gone through before. That's how my writing inspires others for self-care. Is your book going to help people improve their money situation? Whether to get a job, to manage the money, to teach their children about money? Or is your book something that is going to help with love, relationships, showing us how to have better relationships with our significant other, a better relationship with our children, the world in general, or with ourselves? So think about how your book is going to inspire, inform, educate, uplift. And this is one that I always add, heart. What emotion will your reader feel after they've finished reading your book? As I mentioned before, I want you to be aware of what you want them to walk away with. That they are, if you're teaching them a skill, that it's very specific and it's broken down so that there's no question about, well, what did they really say here? But overall, I added heart so that you think about how you want your reader to feel, the emotion that you will be, in essence, seeding, infusing throughout your book. You want them to be hopeful. You want them to be inspired. You want them to be empowered. Do you want them to have confidence that no matter what happens, that they matter? So be aware that your book whether it's a self-help business book, giving people step-by-step instructions on how to write a blog, it still has heart. It still has passion. Or you want to write a legacy. You're writing a memoir. That has to have heart. That's a personal journey. Don't get me wrong, your business has a journey as well. There's a story to your business. So both of them, whether it's the legacy that you want to leave or you're talking about a business story, there's a heart involved in the passion of why you are compelled to do this, to write this book now. There are a lot of moving parts to writing a book, and I joke about using the journalistic curiosity questions. It gives you an anchor to know the pieces that you have to answer while you're starting your writing journey and as you continue your writing journey. But there's a lot of moving parts. But you are the heart, and you are creating the heart with that content that you put together. And if you have any questions about getting started and how to get organized and what is an easy method to contain all of those great ideas that have been circling around in your head and you haven't had a really good strategy to gather them together and to keep them corralled so that you can gain new ideas. And I would love to have a strategy call with you. And I invite you to go to yourwritingmentor.com/strategy call to get directly to my calendar and we'll talk about your book and how you can start your writing journey. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be with you today, and I so look forward to reading your book because your story matters, and no one can tell your story from your perspective except you. I'm Mary Knippel, a book mentor, helping you get your expertise out of your head and onto the page so that you can write your book and grow your business and your ideal readers and potential publishers can find you. Remember, go to yourwritingmentor.com/strategy call and let's connect today. Thank you very much.